Good morning, Genesis family. Today is day 12 of our 21 days of prayer and fasting. I hope that you have been tracking along with us. Have you ever noticed that when you're driving, that if you see something going off on the right or the left of you, that's kind of where you tend to begin to steer because your eyes are focused that way? We've been talking about this lesson quite a bit in our house lately as we have a new driver. And if we drive by an accident, a crash of some sort or something big, I'm always saying, I will look, you drive, like you stay focused. And that's so true in our spiritual life. Well, our feelings, they follow whatever we're focusing on. And if Brian does something that irritates me, which is not very often, right? If I dwell on that and I think about that all the time, if I just continue to stew on it and hold on to it, then just about everything else that he does is also going to irritate me and it's going to annoy me. But if I can let it go and I can begin to focus on all the ways that he does love me and all the ways that he cares for me and all of the incredible things that he provides as my best friend, as my husband, as my pastor, as my leader, then I also realize, oh, that's not that big of a thing. And I begin to focus on his love for me, and it changes my perspective and it changes my feelings in that moment. So what we are focused on has a huge impact on how we feel. And today, the writer of our devotional and the Awakening Bible Plan is telling us to focus on God's love for us. And there's a couple of scriptures that I wanted to add to the devotion today. The first one is 2 Corinthians 10:5. It says that we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. We take captive every thought and we make it obedient to Christ. This is saying, God, I'm going to dwell on what your word says. I'm going to dwell every thought that comes into my mind, I'm going to hold it against what your word says and what I know that you have planned for me, what you have laid out for me, because sometimes the thoughts that come into our mind are not thoughts from Christ and they are not thoughts that line up with where he wants us to go. So we have to recognize those. We have to take them captive. We have to hold them. We have to throw them away so we can stay focused on where we're going. And a great way to do that is Philippians 4:8. Says whatever's true, whatever is noble, whatever's right, whatever's pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, and if there's anything in your life that is praiseworthy or anything that's going on that's excellent, think about those things. Focus on those things. So I want to encourage you and I want to ask you today, what's going good in your life? Where do you see God's hand at work? Where have you seen it before? Focus on those things. The writer also told us to regularly meditate on verses that help us focus on God's love. When we are letting those thoughts of self-doubt and insecurity begin to creep into our mind, we need to shift back and focus on verses that remind us of God's love. So I want to ask you to do something. I like to participate. I do not like to sit on the sideline. I don't like to sit on the bench and watch other people play. I want to get in the game. So I'm asking you to get in the game. Can you, whether this is on Facebook or whether it's on YouTube, wherever you're watching from, can you comment down below some scriptures that help you remember God's love for you? Because in you doing that, one, it's going to help you remember, and two, it may be a verse that encourages someone else in our church family as well. I want to share these two verses with you to meditate on as we go about our day today. Psalms 86:15 says, "You, O Lord, are a God that is merciful, gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in steadfast love." That's our God. Psalms 103 verses 11 through 13 says, For as high as the heavens are above the earth, so great is his steadfast love toward those who fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far does he remove our transgressions from us. As a father shows compassion to his children, so does the Lord show compassion to us. It's a God that loves us, that our transgressions, our sins, our mistakes, our mess ups, He tosses them as far as the east is to the west out of his great love for you and for I. So if you can think of any other scriptures, or if there's scriptures that you regularly meditate on or think about, would you share them with our church family? Let's be an encouragement to one another, an iron sharpens iron kind of family and friend. I love you all so much. And hey, I'm looking forward to worshiping with you on Sunday at 10 a.m.